Okay. Hi, and welcome to another AWS Tech webinar, which we're having these days. My name is Hans-Jørgen Jonsrud. I'm working as a Nordic Strategic Vendor Manager toward AWS, located at TD SYNNEX in Norway, and supporting the Nordics. We are today having the webinar toward the Storage Gateway. And with us, we have Mark Lawrence, which is coming from TD SYNNEX, which will introduce the Storage Gateway. Then Miriam from AWS will take us through some advanced functionality and use cases. And then at the end, Mark again will give us the information toward the installation services, which TD SYNNEX has toward the Storage Gateway. So with that, I would like to give the word to Mark.
Hi guys, good morning. Hopefully you can hear me well. So first of all, I'd like to congratulate all of you guys for attending this presentation today. Why would I like to congratulate you? Well, essentially, you're going to be some of the first people who are aware of this service that is available, or this product that is available to you in the reseller channel. Now, for a number of commercial reasons, this product has not really been available in Europe thus far, or it certainly hasn't been promoted out to Europe thus far. And working with Hans and Lino over there in the Nordics, we've been able to enable the Nordics as one of the first regions in the European area to actually have access to this product. So congratulations for joining today, because you're going to have a real first mover advantage on this product, which is going to allow you to take the product out to market before your competition and potentially get some good revenue through this product. So very exciting to talk to you today. As Hans-Jørgen has said, we're going to be focusing initially on the introduction to the AWS Storage Gateway from TD SYNNEX, and this is an exclusive product from TD SYNNEX, only available through TD SYNNEX in the European region. Then we're going to be talking about the advanced functionality and use cases. We have a fantastic speaker joining us from AWS, Miriam Belhaj. So she's going to take you through some of the details. And then, as has been stated, it will come back to myself. And I'm going to talk a little bit about the commercial need-to-knows with this service in terms of the installation, and then also the AWS Storage Gateway itself. Finally, at the end, we will have a short Q&A session. So please, if you have any questions, keep them in your mind, and we'll go through them as we come to the end of the presentation. So with that said, a little bit about myself. I'm an ex-Intel guy. I worked at Intel for about 11 years. I went off and did some of my own projects out there in the field and started a company called Blackcore Technologies. And then I joined TD SYNNEX sort of 3 years ago as Solution Enablement Manager for EMEA. So I'm working on networking, storage, and particularly white box server opportunities for all of EMEA in a division we call Global Computing Components, which is part of TD SYNNEX. And I'd like to start off with this quotation that I found, which states that cloud is really not about how you do computing. It's actually not about where you do computing, it's about how you do computing. And I changed this slightly today because we're going to be focused on storage today. So today we're going to be saying cloud is about how you do storage, not where you do storage. And I think this talks well to the AWS Storage Gateway. By installing this device on premises, you can enable cloud computing for new users, or you can improve it for existing users of AWS services. And today, myself and Miriam will really take you through the value proposition of the AWS Storage Gateway and hopefully really enlighten you with ways to increase your revenue as a reseller with a stream from TD SYNNEX and from AWS. So let's get into it. What is the AWS Storage Gateway? First of all, it's a hardware appliance that you can see and touch. What we will be discussing today is specifically the AWS Storage Gateway hardware appliance. Now, it must be said that you can deploy this as a virtual machine. However, the hardware appliance gives you a bunch of advantages over a virtual machine in terms of ease of installation, ease of deployment, in terms of the fact that you don't have to worry about existing infrastructure that's on site. This is a very simple rack, stack, and connect device that you can put on your customer premises without having to really interfere with their existing infrastructure too much, or in fact rely on the fact that they may have an existing virtualized infrastructure. You can install this in pretty much any customer, from a very small business right through to a large enterprise. And what we're going to show you today are the different types of applications as well for this AWS Storage Gateway. It sits on customer premises or in a customer data center. So for those very small customers who don't have any access to a data center or don't have their own data center, yes, it can sit within their small office, it can sit within a server rack, within a cupboard, or in a larger customer, it can sit within their own customer data center. It does connect to local devices and it connects to AWS storage. So it's really exactly as it sounds. It's a gateway between your local on-premise infrastructure and the vast cloud capabilities of AWS storage. It has 5 terabyte and 12 terabyte options. So again, it's very, very simple. There's only 2 SKUs for this AWS Storage Gateway, one of 5 terabyte, one of 12 terabyte. Obviously, the larger one is more appropriate for customers who have larger amounts of storage in the cloud and who are looking for a larger cache to actually support that transition to the cloud with storage. It has Intel inside. You know, Intel, ex-company of mine, I've worked with those guys for 11 years, so they used to say, cut me open and I'm blue inside. I think that's perhaps today not as much of an advantage as it has been in the past, but of course, you know, Intel are a very reliable company. They've been producing processors for many years, and this is really based on standard-based technology, right? So Dell server, Intel inside, and AWS Storage Gateway software sitting on top of that. And finally, as I've mentioned, the hardware appliance is exclusive to TD SYNNEX. But what does it look like? It looks like this. It's a fairly standard looking rack mount box, right? This 1U form factor does fit into 99% of rack infrastructure. So it's not taking up much space. It's not using much power. It's a fairly low powered device, but it has very advanced functionality that's going to enable your customers to connect to the cloud, or as I mentioned before, to improve the performance of their AWS storage if they're an existing customer of AWS. So when I was at Intel, really we were told you must always have an elevator pitch. So if you're going up in an elevator, you have 30 seconds to deliver a pitch on a product. So I think we'll start today with the 30-second pitch. And that's really that if you install this gateway on your customer's premises and they access AWS storage at lower latency with higher levels of reliability. As you can imagine, you know, transferring data across the internet, particularly for your remote customers, can be a challenge. And particularly during the day, the internet can be particularly busy. So you don't want to be sending lots and lots of traffic up and down to AWS storage all the time. With this device sitting in between your application and the cloud, that's going to allow a cache, and it's going to allow you to access that storage at lower latency and with higher levels of reliability. It's going to improve your customers' ability to share files effectively and to share and collaborate on those files without storage limits, because they have the vast back end of Amazon S3 file storage and Amazon storage behind this gateway. And it includes support for previously incompatible legacy on-premise applications. So if you have devices or your customer has devices on site, such as iSCSI SANs or tape archival, which previously couldn't connect to AWS, this is going to enable those devices to connect to AWS and provide an instant expansion of the storage out to AWS's vast storage capabilities. So I think this is a good starter pitch, but AWS themselves have a value proposition for this product, and it sits here. You know, this is actually a copy and paste from the AWS website. And this is what I would describe as more of a 3-minute value proposition, where you have, you know, perhaps a call with a customer where you have a little bit more time to go through some of the key parts of the value proposition on this product. So the first box here is delivering low latency data access. What does that mean? It's really faster local storage with caching to AWS, as I've just described, and no waiting on the internet. We've discussed providing your on-premise legacy applications access to cloud-backed storage. And that's really the decipher of this piece here. It's allowing your on-premise applications to access AWS storage via the local box. And then the fact that you can offer unlimited cloud storage to users and applications without deploying new storage hardware is a really important part of that value proposition. And I think the message here is you don't need to invest in a huge SAN for your on-premise storage. You don't need to perhaps look at things as complex as hyper-converged infrastructure. You can just install this little box and really take advantage of that cloud computing capability or cloud storage capability that is out there. And then finally, it's secure, right? It can support things like your compliance efforts. It has key capabilities like encryption, audit logging, and can even support things like worm storage, traditional tape storage. So it can help to replace tape archival with virtual tape libraries. And we're going to actually go into a couple of use cases when Miriam comes on to talk about how this has helped some of our customers really replace aging tape archival solutions. So it's a fantastic solution for those who are still using tape and are looking to replace that with a more modern type infrastructure. But what are the business problems that this solution addresses? You know, it's all very well for us to talk about the technical capabilities and to talk about what I would call the speeds and feeds of a box. You know, I'm very used to talking about things like core count, how much RAM does the box have, what network connection does it have? But really, your customers are not interested in these things. They're more interested in what are the business problems that this solution addresses. Excuse me for the interruption by Alexa there. So the business problem this solution addresses, first of all, is to achieve that seamless hybrid cloud infrastructure. You know, a lot of businesses are on that journey towards cloud. Some of them are scared of the cloud, right? They find it an incredibly complex concept to get over. And this allows them with a simple appliance to achieve a seamless hybrid cloud infrastructure with a very easy transaction with you, the reseller. And it's also going to support that file sharing and collaboration on a much larger scale. You know, using small on-premise NAS or simple file sharing solutions can be restrictive for your customers. By using the AWS Storage Gateway, we can support file sharing and collaboration not only within the business, but on a much wider basis, because you have that storage in the cloud that is accessible all over the world. And really that talks to point 5, in that once your storage is within AWS, you're really supporting content distribution to global endpoints. You know, AWS is a global service. It has fantastic connectivity all over the world. So if your customer's business model involves the distribution of video or images or large files, then this can support that content distribution to those global endpoints. It can also help your customer to enable a solid backup and disaster recovery strategy. And again, this is something that causes IT managers within small, medium businesses lots of headaches. It can be incredibly expensive to put together a solid backup and disaster recovery strategy. AWS Storage Gateway really simplifies that for your customers and allows them to deploy, again, a simple single appliance that will have very compliant data backup and disaster recovery solution. And that really leads us nicely into point 4, that, you know, experts within AWS and experts within the storage industry have designed this product to allow you to be regulatory compliant, right? That you can archive your data in a compliant way, and you always have the necessary documentation to support that. You know, be that for an insurance purpose or be that for a compliance purpose with government regulation, you're going to be covered with this box. And I think that's a fantastic part of the value proposition here. Now, when it comes to you, the reseller, what are the benefits for you as the reseller? We've talked about some of the benefits of the AWS Storage Gateway. We've talked about some of the business benefits for your customer, but there must always be benefits for you, the reseller. And, apart from the fact that you're going to be one of the first to actually take this out to market, you're going to be one of the first to have a lead on your competitors all across Europe, in fact, because the Nordics is the first region to take this out to market. You're also going to benefit from things like credibility. You're going to be partnering with AWS. These guys are a huge name out in the market, right? Everyone recognizes AWS. If they don't, they very much know Amazon, right? So you need to be mentioning that you're partnering with AWS to take this out to market. But not only AWS, you're partnering with us at TD SYNNEX. And, as the world's largest distributor of IT products and services, I think that's a great partnership for any reseller to convey to their customers that they're working with the largest distributor in the world and also the largest cloud provider in the world to bring this product to, every man who is out there in the small, medium business space. And the other benefits really are things like simple and fast quoting. Right, this is a very easy solution for us to quote. We have it in stock in the Nordics. We have the pricing nailed down. We have the reseller pricing nailed down. We have the advised customer pricing with a strong double-digit margin nailed down already. So we've set everything up for you to make it as simple as possible for you as a reseller to take this out to market. And not only that, by working with TD SYNNEX, you have value-add upsell capabilities. Perhaps the customer is looking at deploying the AWS Storage Gateway, but at the same time, they need to upgrade their network. They need to install some more switches, some more cabling, and you can purchase all of that on a single invoice from TD SYNNEX. We have a vast range of vendors, a vast range of products that can really help you to support taking this out to market. And of course, we have comprehensive pre and post-sales support from both ourselves and from AWS. So this next part I'm going to go through quite quickly. I'm not going to take you into all the detail, and you'll see in a moment why. But as someone who works in sales enablement, it's very important for me to enable you guys with all of the necessary assets to take this product out to market. So we have a bunch of assets available via aws.amazon.com/storage gateway. You can download things like this AWS storage hardware appliance document, a PDF. You have lots of information within the website. You have the value proposition, and then you have a fantastic video by Bassem Bishi, which really goes through all of the details on this. So if you're sitting today and you're picking up some pieces from me and you're remembering 5%, and the same with Miriam, go back and have a look at this video. Share this video, if you like, with your customers, with your colleagues, within the business. And what that's going to allow is for you to consume this training almost again, but on a on-demand basis, right? Where you can pause it, you can go off and have a cup of tea and come back. So I think that's a really good proposition. Now, perhaps you might recognize this. What I've done is I've put together some text, and this is basically the top benefits for both new and existing AWS customers. And I'm going to hold my hands up. I use ChatGPT. So I have a nice statement for you guys. You will not be replaced by artificial intelligence. You will be replaced by someone who uses artificial intelligence. And what I've seen in the past few weeks and months is that ChatGPT can really be a fantastic resource to help us to put together things like value propositions, to put together text, to put together emails. So I've put together some of the top benefits for new and existing customers. I've got quite a bit of experience with ChatGPT and with prompt writing. And these are just templates, right? There's something for you to start with. I know it can be daunting, is the word that we use in the UK, to prepare a whole set of marketing resources to take a product out to market. So this gives you a good starting point to really go out to market, to email your customers, to perhaps call your customers. This is an example of a call script. And then we have some examples of LinkedIn posts. And I'm not suggesting you just take these and use them, although you can. but you could take them, perhaps look at them and say, okay, I want to change this a little bit, but it's a good basis for you to start on. And I always find if, you know, you're going from 1 to 100, it's better to start at 70, where you have everything kind of in place, and then you only need to do that final 30% to take the product out to market. So hopefully that was useful for you as an introduction to the AWS Storage Gateway. I'm going to introduce Miriam now, who's going to take you through some of the advanced functionality and some of the use cases and customer deployments that we have already on the AWS Storage Gateway. So I'm going to stop sharing, Miriam. Hopefully you are able to share without difficulty.
Yes. Now let me share my screen. Can you see my screen?
Oh, sorry, we can. I'd gone on mute.
Okay, perfect. Let me
presentation mode. Yeah.
go into presentation mode. So good morning, everyone. My name is Mariam Belhaj. I'm Storage Specialist Solution Architect. I joined AWS since almost 3 years now, and I have more than 15 years of experience in infrastructure with an expertise in storage. So we are here today to discuss the benefits of AWS Storage Gateway with a focus on the hardware appliance. So what is Storage Gateway service? So AWS Storage Gateway is a set of hybrid cloud storage services that provide on-premises access to virtually unlimited cloud storage. So in some cases, customers need to keep their workloads running on premises. For example, in case they have a manufacturing or medical equipment, or if they are doing research or running a laboratory, there could be a huge amount of data that is created, but that couldn't be able to connect directly to a cloud storage system. That means they have a requirement to have something on premises in their data center, or maybe in their manufacturing facility, in a warehouse, in a laboratory, or in their remote branch office, for example. So when they are generating and creating this data, they can have it directly uploaded into AWS, and once it's there, they can process the data, archive it, or do whatever they need to do with their data. And to connect their on-premises workloads to the cloud, they don't need to change their applications. They can continue accessing their data using the same protocol that they are using today, like NFS or SMB for file shares, or iSCSI protocol to access their block storage. So they need to deploy a storage gateway appliance into their on-premises facility. Of course, it could be a virtual appliance that they deploy into their preferred hypervisor, or a physical appliance, and this is what we are discussing today. So they deploy this physical appliance and on premises in their data center, and they need to connect it to the storage gateway managed service into AWS. And with that, they will be able to access our storage services like Amazon S3 or FSx for Windows. And this provides them with a scalable storage, and unlimited storage that could make them able to scale as they need. One of the things that I wanted to highlight is that the storage gateway appliance provides their application or end users with the possibility to access directly their data locally. So it provides a local cache in case customers have a limited bandwidth, or maybe they have a shared network access that they cannot dedicate to those applications, they can take benefit from the local cache to accelerate the access to their data. And this is one of the key points provided by the Storage Gateway. So Mark already presented the look of the Storage Gateway hardware appliance. I just wanted to highlight a couple of things in this slides. In fact, the Storage Gateway appliance provides the 5 terabytes or 12 terabytes of usable storage capacity available for the cache, but you still can order the 5 terabytes hardware appliance, and you can, after that, in case you need more cache, you can extend this cache by ordering additional disks. And of course, this hardware appliance, it was validated and tested, and we provide redundancy in terms of power supplies, network connectivity, and disks. So now let's have a look at the common use cases that can be for which the Storage Gateway can be used. In fact, customers are moving to the cloud to accelerate innovation, leverage their data to derive new insights, achieve higher savings, and reduce their business risk. And the Storage Gateway makes sense in several use cases. So here we highlight 3 of them. For example, customers can easily and securely store backups in the cloud, and this includes database backups, file share backups, their archives, and so on. While many enterprises start their cloud journey by launching individual projects or focusing on a cloud-first approach for new applications, we also have seen that an easy way to get started in the cloud is to begin with migration of existing data, especially for backups or archiving purposes. And from there, many customers evolve to using the cloud for more active workloads and modernization of their enterprise infrastructure. Customers can access virtually unlimited cloud file shares from on-premises, which means they can stop storing and paying to store data locally. And ultimately, customers want to gain deeper insights from their data. So once it's there, the Storage Gateway could be a key component of any enterprise cloud strategy. And customers can share data globally, create data lakes, support data pipelines, and they can innovate and reinvent how they get things done. So the Storage Gateway, in fact, comes with 4 types, and of course, we keep growing the Storage Gateway family. And we have today 4 types of Storage Gateway. The Amazon S3 Gateway provides the on-premises applications access to Amazon S3 through the NFS or SMB protocols. So customers use this type of gateway to, for example, for backups or to archive their data and take benefit of the unlimited storage provided by Amazon S3, as well as its 11 nines of durability. In addition to that, we have Amazon FSx File Gateway, which is backed up by Amazon FSx for Windows, and this provides customers with the same capabilities as they have in case they are already using Microsoft file shares. So they will have the same capabilities. And for customers who need to replace their physical tapes, they can use the tape gateway to access a virtual tape library, and those tapes will be stored into Amazon S3. And finally, we have the full volume gateway, which provides a block storage volumes, and with the possibility to be protected either using snapshots or AWS backup for GR use cases, for example. And we will dive deeper into the 4 types of the storage gateway. So first, let's have a deeper look at the Amazon S3 file gateway. So this type of gateway provides a file interface that enables customers to store files as objects in Amazon S3 using the industry standard NFS and SMB file protocols. So customers can continue accessing their file shares using this protocol. They don't need to make any change in their applications or end user file shares. And in fact, they can access those files from their data center or Amazon EC2 in case they are running workloads in AWS. They can also access their files or objects directly using the Amazon S3 API in case they need to do further processing of their data. So, for example, they can take advantage of the possibility of putting in place lifecycle policies to transition their data through the different Amazon S3 storage classes. So, for example, they can first store their data into Amazon S3 standard storage class in case they need to access it immediately and in case the data is frequently accessed. And then once the data becomes colder, they can transition those objects or those files into the archive storage class. Storage classes like Glacier Deep Archive or Glacier Flexible Retrieval, and this provides them the possibility to reduce their costs. So that's why this kind of storage gateway is used for backups, for archives, but in addition to that, customers could use the storage gateway to ingest their data into Amazon S3 and have insights into their data. Another type of file gateway is the Amazon FSx file gateway. And as you can see, it is we use the search gateway with FSx for Windows file server, which provides the same capabilities as Microsoft file shares. So it can optimize the access to Windows file shares on Amazon, and it makes it easier for users to access this file shares with low latency, and also they can reduce the need to use the shared bandwidth. So as I said, they have a local cache, which will accelerate the access and reduce the latency. So the FSx file gateway minimizes the amount of data transfer while also optimizing the usage of network bandwidth to AWS. And with these capabilities, customers can consolidate all of their on-premise file shares data in AWS on FSx for Windows File Server and benefit from protected, resilient, and fully managed file systems. Another type of the storage gateway is the tape gateway, which presents itself to the existing backup application as an industry standard iSCSI-based virtual tape library, or VTL, consisting of a virtual media changer and virtual tape drives. So they can continue to use their existing backup applications and workflows while writing to a nearly limitless collection of virtual tapes. So each virtual tape is stored in Amazon S3, so it benefits from the high availability the durability of Amazon S3. And when customers no longer require immediate or frequent access to data contained on a virtual tape, they can have their backup application move it from the Storage Gateway virtual tape library into an archive tier that sits on top of Amazon S3 Glacier cloud storage to reduce their storage costs. And we will see some customer use cases where the tape gateway helped them to get rid of their on-premises tape libraries and tapes and move it to the clouds. And as you can see, the tape gateway is supported by the most used backup software like Veeam, Veritas, or Commvault. And you can scan this QR code to access to the full list of supported backup software and interesting resources that could help setting up and integrating this backup software with the tape gateway. And finally, we have the volume gateway, which presents your application's block storage volumes using the iSCSI protocol. And data written to these volumes can be asynchronously backed up as a point-in-time snapshots and stored in the cloud as Amazon Elastic Blocks servers snapshots. You can back up your on-premises volume gateway volumes using the native snapshot schedulers or the AWS backup service, which provides the possibility to backup to create backup plans and backup your volumes automatically and centrally. And the snapshots are incremental backups, of course, that capture only the changed blocks. And all snapshots storage is also compressed to reduce costs. So it could be a very interesting solution in case customers need to put a minimum effort to build a disaster recovery strategy into the cloud, or to migrate their database volumes, for example, to the cloud. So now let's have a look to some customer use cases. So as you can see here, we have in fact, thousands or tens of thousands of AWS Storage Gateway customers across multiple industry and sizes. And I wanted to share with you today 3 customer use cases. So the first one is Ryanair. So it's the famous airline company here in Europe, and in fact, they were experiencing failures in restores 4 times out of 10 times, so 40% of restore failures, and this was for them very costly and time consuming. So they needed to find a solution to reduce their costs while making their backups more reliable. and they use it for that, the Glacier Deep Archive, a storage class, and use it, the tape gateway, to get rid of their on-premises tapes. So they were able to deploy and switch over to virtual tapes in less than 1 month, and they saved 65% in archiving costs and eliminated the risk of failed restores from physical tapes. Awesome. And another use case I wanted to share with you is with TransferWise. So TransferWise, you might maybe already have used it or you have heard about it. It's a global technology company that is building the best way to move money around the world. And more than 6 million people and businesses are using TransferWise because it's cheaper, faster, and easier. And since its launch at more than 8 years ago, TransferWise has experienced global business growth. Keeping pace with that growth was challenging because the company hosted its application environments in on-premises data centers that made it difficult to scale and ensure the constant availability customers expect. And when the company started providing services in new regions, the limitations of their on-premises data centers were preventing them to scale at the pace they wanted to do. So to solve this global growth challenge, the company chose to migrate to Amazon Web Services, to AWS, and they began their cloud migration by using a hybrid cloud storage architecture to move their data backup environments to AWS. So they shifted all their backups to AWS using AWS Storage Gateway. So, and they used the tape gateway modes of the AWS Storage Gateway to replace their tape backups and then transitioned to writing their database backups to a volume gateway. And with this volume gateway, so they were able to create EBS snapshots and that were managed by the AWS backup service. So what they achieved is that when they moved hundreds of PostgreSQL and MySQL databases into AWS, into a combination of Amazon RDS or Amazon Relational Database Service and Amazon EC2, Amazon Elastic Compute Cloud with Amazon Elastic Block Store or EBS. And they also use AWS Backup to automate and manage backup operations. And AWS Backup gave them a way to centrally manage data protection policies for on-premises backups written to the storage gateway, database backups that are backed up to Amazon Elastic File System or EFS and Amazon RDS databases. So instead of being constrained by an on-premises infrastructure, they can now scale their web and mobile application platform easily to keep pace with a tenfold annual growth. And as a result, the company expanded their its services more quickly as the business continues to grow. So, and the last use case I wanted to share with you is for gardens, library, and museum provided by the Oxford University. And they were facing some challenges because they couldn't display they were only displaying a small proportion of their objects and specimens due to the volume of collections, and they were not able to keep pace with the growing volume of this collection and store them into their on-premises data centers. And they also wanted to be able to preserve and safeguard their digital assets as efficiently as possible and make sure that they were protected. So the key challenge that they were facing is that their on-premises storage systems would take too long to deploy and configure. And they wanted to get rid of this heavy lifting and the complexity of deploying and configure storage systems into their on-premises data center. So what they did is that they chose the Storage Gateway appliance to save their digital images to file shares mapped to Amazon S3. And they also used the Snowball device to copy 23 terabytes of data into Amazon S3. So it was a combination of online and offline data migration. And they started using the Amazon S3 Glacier to archive their data for long-term retention. As you can see, this solution made them reduce their costs by 20 to 60%, and they lowered the management cost by 30%, and they were happy to be able to provide a solution to provide the museum's digital assets. So those are a few examples of how customers can use the Storage Gateway to take the advantage of unlimited storage in the cloud and all the capabilities offered by the cloud for them to scale and innovate. Thank you for your attention, and with that, I hand it over to Mark.
Thank you, Mariam. That was really interesting. So very much appreciate you joining us today and going through that information. Just before we transition back, or while I share my screen, could you just explain, you talked about the 4 modes of the AWS Storage Gateway. Could you just explain a little bit further? What if, say, a customer wanted to use all 4 of those modes? How would they achieve that? Would they then install 4 AWS Storage Gateways and configure each one differently? Or perhaps you can talk to that just for a minute.
Yes, in fact, one of the things that customers need to know is that the Storage Gateway, either it's a hardware appliance or a software appliance, it supports only one mode of the Storage Gateway. So if in case, Mark, they need to use the 4 Storage Gateway devices, they need to deploy 4 Storage Gateway appliances into their on-premises data center.
That's great. So essentially, initially, what you would do as a reseller is find out where your customer's pain point was, and then perhaps target one specific mode towards them. Or if you find that they have multiple pain points that address those different modes, then there's a bigger opportunity as a reseller to sell multiple units. And also, I think I've seen something from you, Mariam. I think we discussed it in the past where a customer had many storage gateways stacked up. What would be the reason to do that?
In fact, they can use multiple storage gateway in case they need to access to have high availability. And in that case, they can, of course, talk to us to help them architect the high availability of the storage gateway in case they are using the hardware appliance, for example.
Got you. That's perfect. So I think for you guys, for the resellers, you're in a very strong position because you have the support of TD SYNNEX, you have the support of AWS. Mariam is available if you have further questions after this. come to your account manager within TD, and we'll pass those on to Miriam and really support you in any deployment that you're looking to do with a customer. So once again, thank you very much for joining us, Miriam. Please hang around just in case there's a couple of questions at the end. I'm going to try and cover these next 2 slides in 2 minutes, so let's go fast. If my presentation will move. Okay, great. So the TD SYNNEX installation service, you've heard about this product, you've heard about some of the value that it can offer to your customers, and perhaps you're a little bit worried as a reseller about taking this out into the market and deploying it and installing it. Thankfully, we have an installation service available for you. So it's a complete installation service. It uses fully trained, insured, certified engineers. But of course, on the customer site, there does need to be sufficient rack space, power, network ports, and cooling. Now, if your customer doesn't have a dedicated server room, or perhaps they have some challenges with network or cooling or power, we can help them with that. So don't let that put the customer off. And in fact, if they don't want the rack mount solution, we even have an alternative option that they could consider if your customer is a very small business, for instance, and they have no rack infrastructure at all, and they're looking for something that will sit on a desktop. That's also possible. So just encourage you guys, if this is sparking anything within your mind, to have that conversation with the people here at TD SYNNEX. And in a couple of slides' time, I'm going to show you who those people are. Now, you can see the information on the slide here. The basic on-site rack and stack is a fixed price. It is location dependent, but we have got a special offer set up specifically for the Nordic regions. That involves racking it, plugging it in, setting up the IP, and taking the product to the stage of activation ready. Now, what will need to be done by the customer at that point, or potentially by one of our installation specialists, is to finalize all of the setup in the customer's AWS console. And that is not included in the on-site rack and stack service. If you do need things like AWS console configuration, integration into existing systems, as Miriam talked about, things like iSCSI, SMB, NFS, if your customer needs training or demonstrations, then that would be a bespoke project, and we can discuss and scope that with you to help you to take that full project out to your customer and have a complete service which includes this advanced configuration. So what are those commercial needs to knows? First of all, the Nordics, again, I've mentioned how exclusive this is and how ahead the Nordic region is in bringing this to market. They've enabled an AWS Storage Gateway try and buy for you resellers. So, there's been a lot of work done internally here at TD SYNNEX to make that happen. Fantastic support from Antti Lino and from Hans-Jürgen to actually make this happen. So please, if this is something that your customer seems interested in, if you have some conversations and they say, yes, but I'd like to try it first, contact the people that you're dealing with at TD SYNNEX, and we'll enable a 30-day test period on a physical product for your customer. In terms of some of the more basic stuff, yes, this comes with a 3-year next business day on-site warranty supported by Dell Pro Support. The TD SYNNEX installation and configuration service, as we've mentioned, is available, and you can see the pricing here on the far right. That's $960 to have that installed and brought to the point of activation. There is a strong margin play for the reseller here, so 20% margin. I don't know how long you guys have been working in IT, but I've been in IT since the 2000s, and usually we're restricted to quite small margins, particularly in distribution. So the thought of a 20% margin is very exciting, for someone like myself. As we've mentioned several times, 5 and 12 terabytes, and it's available in stock today in the Nordics. You can see the pricing here to you, the reseller, and you can see the recommended pricing to the end user. However, we're not going to share that. So, if you want to bolt on additional things, add some more services, charge for, delivery, etc., put some margin on the installation service, these are all possible. The main thing though, and the most important thing for you guys is just talk to us, right? Maybe this product, as I said, isn't completely 100% right, or maybe you still have some questions. The team here are fantastic guys who are really out there to support you. So these guys, get in touch with them. They'll link up with myself, they'll link up with AWS, and link up with all the key contacts within TD SYNNEX. There's a vast team here to support you. And just in the last 2 minutes now, so apologies, we're running 2 or 3 minutes behind. What are we asking you guys to do? Review this training. We're going to send it out afterwards, including those assets that we've put together for you, so that you can go off and do some of your own research, familiarize yourself with the product further, understand the value proposition for your customers, and then talk to those customers. You know, start off with some open questions. Are you migrating to the cloud? What is your cloud migration strategy? Are you having storage challenges with on-premise storage? Simple opening questions that will allow you to start a conversation on something like the AWS Storage Gateway. And then perhaps do some end user marketing. You know, we've made you some assets to start off with to really get you on that marketing journey. Set it up on your website, use the assets to make emails, social media posts, blogs. And remember, you're the first guys to take this out really in the Nordic region. You know, up until now, it's really only been available in the US. Whilst this product has been about for a while, the appliance has only recently came to your region and to Europe. So get that out there and get people starting to get excited about it and hopefully grab those early opportunities. And that's going to enable you to do what we're all here for, all right? Let's not pretend. I love technology, but I'm here to make money, and I'm sure you guys are as well. So let's go out there and make some money together on this strong margin product. So we're done with the slides, and we are right on time. Hans, are you still with us?
Yes, I'm still with you.
Great.
So thank you all. Sorry, thank you all for attending the webinar. And we are excited to have this product in stock and available for you, and with the TD service for installation and so on, which are, I think, offered at a very nice price. And the recording will be placed on the landing page. I will also make sure that you get the PowerPoints sent to you afterwards. So use the recording toward your colleagues in order to spread the learning, and toward the end customers when needed. And reach out to us, and we will support you the best way possible. Reach out to the local BDM, or Antti as a Nordic BDM, or me, and we will support you. So with that, thank you all for attending, and see you soon. Make sure to sign up for the next webinars. As you have in the chat, the webinar the 15th and the 22nd is the next one, and we look forward to see you again. So with that, I will stop the recording.
Take care. Cheers, guys.
Thank you all.